because IP is extremely important. It's literally your foundation, the concrete of your company. I'm Cynthia Hunefeld. I'm the founder and CEO of Evithé Biotechnology. Our tagline is, let's put nature back into medicine. We develop botanical drugs, which are prescription drugs for a practitioner prescription. And these include medicine with label claims. So these are evidence-based plant medicines. So we have a patent pending, and we're working on our trademarks at the moment. Evithé, the word Evithé comes from Hebrew of Evia, which means living one. This has been a really long journey. I mean, the story started about 30 years ago when my father became ill with an infection which quickly developed into sepsis, and that left him permanently disabled. So he went from firefighter to wheelchair bound for a very long time. Dedicated my studies, my life, and a little bit of my sanity to finding a solution. I was 10 when my father got ill, and that made a huge impact on a child growing up. So it set me on a road to learn more about traditional European plant medicine, my own heritage. I'm from the Netherlands, and there's a long tradition of the use of plant medicines there. Initially, I decided I wanted to become a doctor, but quickly realized that being able to make a real difference is really in the medicine development. So I decided to go back to the roots, literally, and study plant medicines. Initially in the Netherlands and later in New Zealand. So going back to my first 2 years of studying ethnobotany and plant medicine, my father became ill again. And this time I had a little bit of an idea of how plants protect themselves and the things that have traditionally been used to help someone fight an infection and improve treatment outcomes. So I went to his doctor to ask if we could add a plant extract to his treatment. And I said, look, if your dad's okay with that, just go ahead. So I gave him a plant extract I'd been looking into and researching and reviewing, and within a week we really seen the results, and he was allowed to go home. So that was one of those defining moments when I spoke to the doctor and said, well, I usually don't really believe in that natural stuff, he said, but I seen the results before and after that really make the difference. And if you can find out what's responsible for this, then you might be able to help a lot of people. Evithé Biotechnology has developed a product towards the treatment of auto-inflammatory disease. And we're starting off with the treatment of interstitial cystitis, bladder pain, which has a whole range of biomarkers that are similar to that seen in sepsis. So the cool thing with botanical drugs compared to pharmaceutical drugs is where you got a pharmaceutical that has a single active molecule, one pathway, one receptor site. Botanical drugs learn from evolution. We have several active molecules that can address several receptor sites, so for the treatment of more complex diseases. So it really expands the toolbox. It's like currently pharmaceutical drugs are trying to fix the car with just a wrench, and we're putting some more tools in the toolbox. We have investigated 1% of the Amazon rainforest. And this has given us 25% of the pharmaceutical drugs that are prescribed today. What about the other 99%? What if these don't fit the mold of single molecule drug development? I think that's extremely important, and looking at the value you're bringing to biodiversity as well. Joined Victoria University and studied a postgrad diploma in clinical research. And that really helped me get a better understanding of how plants have evolved to protect themselves against disease and find a way in harnessing this into botanical drugs. My next step from there was to connect tradition and science. My postgrad in clinical research, this really gave me the opportunity to look at the plant extract that I supported my dad with. One of the things that really stood out is that there wasn't one single active constituent responsible. It seemed that there are several active constituents working together. In general, a plant never produces one. It would die within a week if it would just have one molecule to defend itself with. So I got really interested in how that could work in the form of medicine development. From there, I found that to really take the drug development to the next stage, I need to find a way to connect not just tradition, but also science and business together. I started quite early looking at IP. I think working in drug development and studying in that space made me aware of the importance of IP at a very early stage. So I was allowed to sit in with the masters in drug discovery and development in Victoria University in Wellington. And one of the main lectures was IP and the importance of IP in drug development. That was really eye-opening and a little bit concerning, to be honest. It really showed that the majority of drug development is really focused on identifying a completely novel single molecule, which really narrows that medicine's toolbox. I decided to start studying towards a master's in innovation and commercialization, also at Victoria University Business School, with my newborn son. That was 4 years ago. Quinn just turned 4. I run a lot of surveys, which identified that 78% of end consumers would actually prefer a botanical drug over a chemical, which was really enlightening to find out. There is such a massive market pool. Over 70% of practitioners felt confident in prescribing. I interviewed people in hospitals. I said, look, if you can show me one clinical trial, there is such a need for an expansion of the medicine's toolbox. So this was really insightful. On top of that, actually, I presented a project to the Momentum Advisory Board, which is an advisory board of both university students from different universities and industry experts. And that was really helpful to develop the idea, to get feedback, to get contacts, to be able to ask lots of questions to a whole range of industry experts in New Zealand and overseas. And really develop the project to where it is today. So going through the Masters of Innovation and Commercialization and developing my thesis, I had the opportunity to present it to the AMP scholarship, and the project won an AMP scholarship grant. With the support of Momentum, it was put forward for the Momentum Student Entrepreneur Award. That has been absolutely life-changing because it gave me the opportunity to apply for a grant. So we received a research grant, and that really helped the project move forward. We're able to find out how plants defend themselves and how we could harness this into a botanical drug. So this was, really, really exciting moment. And we're just closing the round now with the support of some really brave angel investors, private investors, bringing both funding and expertise. So we're at closing the round, filing the investigational new drug application with the FDA. So this will allow us to start doing clinical trials in the US. Set up for the lab work and the patent strategy. Made my first hires for the company. So yes, it's been 3 months since we officially took off, but it's been an exciting roller coaster ride. Botanical drug market it's huge. It's several $1 billion worth. So if you look at Europe, for instance, it's commonly prescribed. In the Netherlands has over 170 botanical drugs on prescription. France, 300. Botanical drugs are really commonly prescribed in Europe, mainstream in Asia, part of Kenpo medicine in Japan. So the US has opened a botanical drug registration pathway in 2016, which opens a huge new market. So that's why we're focusing on the US at the moment, to take a completely new, novel botanical drug to market. New Zealand would be excellent for botanical. It's like the perfect place for botanical drug development. And biodiversity is it's unique. Got amazing plants here that have some amazing healing properties that in the form of botanical drugs can help a lot of people. I think it's a massive opportunity for New Zealand to have something that they're uniquely good at and share that with the world. Being able to address multiple targets, multiple receptor sites, gives a more agile way of treating diseases. So as you know, if you look even at the biochemistry of a disease, there's often not just one thing, one receptor responsible for what's happening. There's lots going on. You have a complex body which needs a complex solution, and being able to learn from evolution, how plants have evolved to defend themselves against disease, harness that for drug development, that's a really exciting step, I think. We did an end consumer survey with many end consumers in both New Zealand and overseas. 78% of people would prefer a botanical drug over a chemical. And this was groundbreaking to find that out. It's a really exciting step forward to see such a massive market pool there. And same with practitioners, where 70% of practitioners would love to prescribe botanical drugs. It really reflects that it's really important for pharmaceutical companies to talk with the people that are prescribing their products, to see what they need, what do they need in their toolbox. We have developed a patent that covers the novel botanical drug, all our innovative steps, and its application for the novel botanical drug. Branding is really already in our household. My husband is a designer, so he's got a great eye for branding and colors, and I was very happy to hand it over to him. So yeah, Niels did a lot of work on the branding and the packaging, on the development of the logo, getting to the iPon's website. So yes, yeah, I got a lot of support from him. I got great support. I've got this amazing IP lawyer, Jane Calvert, who I've met through Wellington NZ to get some early support with patent strategy development. And their support has been absolutely foundational to the company. It really helped me to get a really good understanding from a really early on in the company's development process, in the product development process, because IP is extremely important. It's literally your foundation, the concrete of your company. We were able to look at some really awesome inventions, inventive steps, how to protect those. Start as early as you can. Yeah, see if you can sit in with classes that talk about IP, get a grant to talk with a lawyer on an early stage, chat with a lawyer friend. Get started as soon as you can. It was really outstanding how much influence IP has and how many stakeholders are very interested in having a hold of that IP. So there's some competitions out there that are offering a really great opportunity to take your product to the next level, but in some cases those competitions, if you would win, they would own the IP that will come out of the project. That's why it's so important for students to get in really, really early, to learn about their rights, how to protect that, and the effect that some of the choices can have down the line. Because initially you're not really looking at intellectual property, and it's something that comes with the invention, and it's really good to go back over the science and identify that some inventive steps had actually been made compared to other products out in the market. So it's being able to do that at an early stage. It's extremely important. Owning the IP makes it possible to protect the development process, the product, the way it's composed, all the inventive steps that have been taken that make that product the way it is. And that makes it possible to raise funding. It's absolutely foundational to have IP in place to raise funding, especially the level of funding that you're looking for botanical drug development. My dad has always been my superhero. He was a firefighter before he got sick, and he's still a fighter today. I named the product after him. Karel won, his name Karel, and he's always going to be my winner. Yeah, thanks everyone. I think that's really, very support is really